challenge forms and conventions of real media products?
Well, we decided to use inspiration from the film Seven and use the montage type theme because we felt that the cutaways that we used were quite appropriate, and instead of incorporating all the storyline, we used that. So I'd say we developed them by adding the effects when we were editing, as well as using them, because if we hadn't watched the video for Seven, I don't think we would have gotten that idea, and we would be trying to continue to develop the storyline rather than the actual atmosphere of the whole introduction.
Our media teacher kept telling us we had enough of stalker storylines, so we thought, let's do something different. So Bilal came up with an elevator storyline.
Yeah.
I thought we couldn't pull it off, but I was surprised to success.
Well, in our media product, what we actually did is we developed our character and our theme and our setting throughout the whole thing. The tone was basically very, very light-hearted in the beginning, and presenting the shock in the end is what actually gave us the edge overall, to give us that suspense and that feel.
So this is the debut of our thriller opening, Rising Fear. When we found the effect for this shot, we were just so happy because we wanted the green of the CCTV, and then we found these wavy lines, and then we found the jolty, and it was just like top notch.
A bit of homage to Alfred Hitchcock. We're right there. The door's closed, and that kind of represents the solid feel of the whole elevator, trapping Ifat inside. Notice how the white headphones represent purity, etc. We use some flashing effects here and shadows to create a kind of atmospheric feeling.
What makes the title sequence so easy and more epic to watch is the sound. The sound makes it more suspenseful, psychological, what the genre's all about.
Alright, so we used, as you can see here, quite a lot of cutaways. We overlaid film, so basically we had one shot after the next, good transitions, a lot of wipes, a lot of decent sound that actually fits with the actual film. And we had a lot of moving shots as well, so when we were tracking the camera along, obviously these pipes, it just represents that there's basically no escape, there's only one way in, no way out. And that's what we tried to express. With this scene here, we slowed it down a bit, and the hands just represent that it's sort of an uncomfortable place to be. And of course we had the title, which was very simple. We had it in white font, and it was just it just finished off the film very nicely.
Right, so now we're going to compare our prelim with our final piece. With our prelim, we weren't quite familiar with Final Cut Pro, which is the program we used, so we kind of just improvised. And the fact something terrible happened with our prelim, we recorded quite a lot of scenes that we didn't mean to because we pressed record instead of standby at one point. So the fact that we pieced it all together quite well worked, and then we knew not to make that mistake again in our actual piece. And we always checked when we were filming that it was on record rather than standby. So we were both familiar with the technology because of our prelim, as well as the techniques that we had to use.
Alright, so what we had with our prelim was that we had a lot of mistakes made in our prelim that we rectified through editing. So editing was actually the key that got us through this whole process. With our real film, with our real film opening, what we actually did is we learned how to use cutaways, because from our prelim we did accidentally film a lot of cutaways, which ended up being of use to us in our actual film. Another thing that we did do was learn a lot more on how to use effects.
Okay.
The lighting we used was very important as well, because in our prelim we had very well lit footage because it was outdoor and it was filmed in the day, as opposed to our actual film, which was filmed indoors which we purposely actually chose dark lighting for. We didn't bring any extra light, we just used the light in the actual elevator. With that in mind, we did overlay effects that did change the lighting slightly, so as you can see, it's actually flashing, so that's when we actually overlaid that sort of footage.